Have you ever sat down to meditate and realized the silence doesn't feel like silence anymore? Your body is still, your eyes are closed, the setting is perfect, but the calm you used to touch is nowhere to be found. Instead of peace, you feel restless. Instead of clarity, you feel bored or frustrated. You keep thinking, what happened to me? Why can't I meditate like before? The more you chase that old feeling, the further away it seems to drift. And soon, doubt begins to creep in. Maybe you've lost your way. Maybe you're going backwards. Maybe you're not spiritual enough after all. That sense of failure can be heavy, especially if meditation once felt like your lifeline. In the early days, there was a freshness to every breath. You discovered stillness like it was a hidden treasure. Thoughts rose and fell like waves, and you, for the first time, realized you didn't have to follow them. There were even moments of bliss, moments where the world seemed to fade and only presence remained. Those moments kept pulling you back. They convinced you meditation was the key, the practice that would save you. But here's the truth no one tells you. Meditation is not meant to stay the same. Like every stage of your inner life, it evolves. And as it evolves, it stops being the experience your mind craves and starts becoming something deeper. That's why the old magic doesn't come back no matter how hard you try. Because you've already outgrown that stage. The peace you're chasing hasn't disappeared. It's changing form. And what feels like loss is really a sign of growth. You are not failing. You are shifting. The silence you miss hasn't left you. It's preparing to meet you in a new way, one that doesn't depend on closed eyes or perfect posture, but on who you are in every moment. To see that clearly, we need to look at how meditation changes as your journey deepens, and why the emptiness you feel now is actually a doorway to something real. When most people first begin meditating, it feels almost magical. The breath feels new. Thoughts that once controlled you suddenly become visible, and for the first time, you realize you don't have to follow them. Moments of calm appear, sometimes even bliss. And naturally you think, this is it. I've found the way. Those early experiences are powerful because they show you something beyond the constant noise of the mind. They give you a taste of presence. But just like any other stage of life, meditation doesn't stay the same forever. It evolves.
At the beginning, your mind actually enjoys meditation because it gets something out of it. It gets relief, a break from stress, a sense of achievement. It feels like progress, and the ego loves progress it can measure. But as you deepen, meditation stops rewarding the ego. The high fades. The mind no longer gets its prize. And that's when resistance begins. You sit down to meditate and instead of bliss, you feel boredom. Instead of calm, old emotions surface. Instead of silence, there's a flood of restless thoughts. This is the point where many people believe they've lost their practice. They assume they're failing because they can't recreate the old feelings. But the truth is the opposite. You haven't gone backward, you've gone deeper. The piece you're missing is not gone, it's transforming. Meditation is no longer a trick to calm the mind. It's becoming something far more raw and real. And the ego hates that because it can't control or measure it anymore. Think of a child learning to ride a bike with training wheels. At first, the wheels feel safe. You trust them. You call it balance. But eventually, the wheels have to come off. And when they do, it feels shaky, uncertain, even scary. You might think you've forgotten how to ride, but in reality, you're learning to trust yourself for the very first time. Meditation works the same way. The early piece is like the training wheels. When it disappears, it's not because you're broken. It's because you're ready for more freedom. You're ready to move beyond chasing an experience into discovering meditation as your natural state. There comes a stage where meditation no longer feels like the peaceful escape it once was. You sit down, close your eyes, and instead of calm, you feel restless. Your body twitches, your thoughts race, emotions you thought were long gone start rising to the surface. Or sometimes nothing comes at all, just a flat, empty numbness that feels even more unsettling. This is the moment most people panic. They think, I've lost it, I'm going backwards. Maybe meditation doesn't work for me anymore. But this is not the truth. What's really happening is that meditation is stripping away the layers of expectation. The mind doesn't like this because it can't control it. In the early days, the ego could say, I sat for 20 minutes and felt calm, so I'm doing well. But now there's nothing to measure, no points to earn, no trophies for a good session. And because the ego thrives on progress and achievement, it feels threatened. That's why boredom, doubt, and frustration come in. They are the mind's way of saying, if I can't win at this, why bother? But your soul knows better. The shift you're experiencing means meditation is no longer an event you visit for relief. It's starting to reveal itself as something constant, something underneath every moment. That's why the old high feels gone, because you're no longer supposed to chase it. You're being invited to notice presence in the ordinary, not just in the silence with closed eyes. Imagine climbing a mountain. At first, the views are breathtaking. Each new step feels like a reward. But the higher you go, the less you stop to admire. Not because the view is worse, but because the horizon has opened. What once felt extraordinary now becomes normal. The same thing happens with meditation. The stillness hasn't left you, it's becoming the ground you walk on. This stage isn't failure, it's growth. The emptiness you feel is not a loss of connection, but the deepening of it. The question is no longer, how do I get back to peace, but how can I carry this awareness into my everyday life? There comes a stage where meditation no longer feels like the peaceful escape it once was. You sit down, close your eyes, and instead of calm, you feel restless. Your body twitches, your thoughts race, emotions you thought were long gone start rising to the surface. Or sometimes nothing comes at all, just a flat, empty numbness that feels even more unsettling. This is the moment most people panic. They think, I've lost it, I'm going backwards. Maybe meditation doesn't work for me anymore. But this is not the truth. What's really happening is that meditation is stripping away the layers of expectation. The mind doesn't like this because it can't control it. In the early days, the ego could say, I sat for 20 minutes and felt calm, so I'm doing well. But now there's nothing to measure, no points to earn, no trophies for a good session. And because the ego thrives on progress and achievement, it feels threatened. That's why boredom, doubt, and frustration come in. They are the mind's way of saying, if I can't win at this, why bother? But your soul knows better. The shift you're experiencing means meditation is no longer an event you visit for relief. It's starting to reveal itself as something constant, something underneath every moment. That's why the old high feels gone, because you're no longer supposed to chase it. You're being invited to notice presence in the ordinary, not just in the silence with closed eyes. Imagine climbing a mountain. At first, the views are breathtaking. Each new step feels like a reward. But the higher you go, the less you stop to admire. Not because the view is worse, but because the horizon has opened. What once felt extraordinary now becomes normal. The same thing happens with meditation. The stillness hasn't left you, it's becoming the ground you walk on.
This stage isn't failure, it's growth. The emptiness you feel is not a loss of connection, but the deepening of it. The question is no longer, how do I get back to peace, but how can I carry this awareness into my everyday life? When meditation changes, it can feel like you've lost something precious. You remember the stillness, the ease, the subtle bliss that used to come, and now you wonder why it's gone. You sit and try to force it back, but the more you chase, the further away it feels. That sense of loss can be painful, even frightening. It feels like a door has closed. But what if the very fact that the old door won't open is proof that another one has already begun to unlock?
This is the paradox of spiritual growth. The mind believes progress means repeating what worked before. The soul knows progress means moving into what feels unfamiliar. When meditation stops giving you the same comfort, it's not regression, it's expansion. The reason you don't feel satisfied with surface-level calm anymore is because your soul isn't interested in quick relief. It's seeking depth. And depth doesn't always feel peaceful at first. Sometimes it feels messy, uncomfortable, even empty. But it's in that very discomfort that transformation begins. Think of a snake shedding its skin. The old layer once fit perfectly, but eventually it becomes too tight, too heavy. The shedding process is awkward and vulnerable, but without it, the snake cannot grow. In the same way, the old version of meditation served you, but now it's outgrown. The emptiness you feel is the shedding. It's the space between what was and what is becoming. Of course, this stage can stir doubt. You may ask yourself, am I going backward? Am I failing? But the fact that you're even asking those questions is proof you've evolved. You've already tasted presence. You've already glimpsed the stillness underneath thought. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. That's why the old tricks don't work anymore, because you're not meant to play at the surface. So instead of grieving what feels lost, recognize it as a sign you're ready for more. You're being asked to trust a new rhythm, one that doesn't rely on chasing experiences, but on embodying presence in every moment. The deeper truth of meditation is that it's not something you do, it's something you are. In the beginning, practice feels like effort. You sit, you focus, you try to quiet the mind. But as you mature, meditation stops being a technique and starts becoming your natural state. That's why the old way feels empty now. Your soul no longer wants performance, it wants presence. This is the stage where you realize stillness isn't the absence of thought, it's the ability to be fully with whatever arises. If restlessness shows up, that's meditation. If grief rises, that's meditation. If joy bursts through, that's meditation too. You no longer need to escape emotions or silence thoughts to prove you're doing it right. Presence means letting life be exactly as it is, without running from it. At first, this feels unsettling. The ego doesn't know how to handle it because it can't measure progress anymore. It can't say, I went this deep, or I achieved that state. And yet, this is where freedom begins. When meditation stops being about achieving peace and starts being about meeting yourself exactly as you are, you touch something real, something the mind can't claim. Imagine nature. A tree doesn't force itself into stillness. It doesn't measure how present it is. It simply exists, rooted, alive, silent in its being. That's what you're remembering now. That beneath the noise, beneath the effort, you are already that stillness. The practice isn't about becoming it. It's about realizing you never left it. This maturity doesn't mean you'll never sit down to meditate again. It means when you do, it won't be out of force or fear of losing progress. It will be out of joy, out of love for simply resting in what you already are. That shift, from chasing to embodying, is the sign your spiritual path is entering a new depth. If you've been frustrated because meditation doesn't feel the way it used to, I want you to remember this. Nothing is wrong with you. You haven't failed, you haven't gone backwards, and you're not broken. What's happening is growth. The stillness you once visited is no longer meant to be a temporary experience. It's becoming the ground you walk on. That's why the old spark feels gone. It's not gone. It's integrating. It's shifting from something you do into something you are. Yes, it can feel confusing. Yes, it can feel like loss. But think of it this way. The stage where meditation felt magical was the bridge. It carried you across. Now you're on the other side, learning to live from the awareness you touched.
That's why the old way doesn't satisfy anymore. Because your soul isn't asking you to chase bliss. It's asking you to embody presence, to bring it into how you eat, how you breathe, how you love, how you live. This is the real meditation. Not closing your eyes and escaping life, but opening your eyes and entering it fully. Not chasing perfection, but meeting the raw truth of this moment exactly as it is. Not trying to become still, but realizing you are stillness itself. So the next time you sit down and feel like nothing is happening, smile. Because something is happening. The illusion is falling away. The performance is ending. What remains is you, real, awake, aware, and enough.
And if this message resonated with you, take it as a sign. You're not falling off your path. You're deepening into it. Share your experience in the comments so others can know they're not alone. And make sure to subscribe if you want more guidance on this journey of awakening, because this is only the beginning. Your practice is not failing. Your practice is becoming life itself.